I'm Christine Persichetti with this Currents News update. At 1 minute to midnight Kabul time on August 30th, America's longest war came to an end. President Biden is asking Americans to join him in praying for all the troops, diplomats, and volunteers who put so much effort into evacuating thousands of Afghans, Americans, and others over the past few chaotic weeks. The last American soldier out of Afghanistan, Army Major General Chris Donahue, commander of the storied 82nd Airborne. His image captured in night vision boarding the final C-17 to take off from Hamid Karzai Airport. Taliban fighters firing off celebratory rounds after nearly 20 years. The war in Afghanistan is officially over.
It's a mission that brought Osama bin Laden to a just end, along with many of his al-Qaeda co-conspirators. And it was not a cheap mission. The cost was 2,461 U.S. service members and civilians killed, and more than 20,000 who were injured.
The U.S. military conducting what it calls its largest non-combatant evacuation in history, over 18 days.
More than 123,000 people have been safely flown out of Afghanistan. That includes about 6,000 American citizens.
Despite the United States' historic efforts, our nation's top general in the Middle East says that they weren't able to get everybody out that wanted to get out.
I think if we'd stayed another 10 days, Louis, we wouldn't have gotten everybody out that we wanted to get out. And there still would have been people who would have been disappointed with that. It's a tough situation.
The mission to get people out is still underway. The United Nations Security Council has now approved a resolution for creating safe passage for people still seeking to leave Afghanistan from the Kabul airport, warning the Taliban that they should know that the world is watching them closely.
Everybody must be allowed to safely leave Afghanistan for whatever reason, whenever they want, by air or by land.
Pope Francis appears to be joining the chorus of those criticizing the way in which the U.S. departed from Afghanistan. In an interview with Spanish media, his Holy Father saying he doesn't want to judge, but, quote, they did not take into account all the eventualities. In referencing they, however, Pope Francis does not mention the U.S. or any nation by name. Some 100 nations and NATO have agreed to welcome refugees from Afghanistan, and JFK Airport will be the first glimpse many of those coming to the U.S. will have of our country. Specifically, they'll arrive and be processed at the airport's Building 87. It's a massive cargo hangar. It's also where many of the Port Authority's canine cops train their dogs. In other news, New York Governor Kathy Hochul is in the hot seat as the state's eviction moratorium is set to expire at midnight Tuesday. State lawmakers are expected to hold an emergency session on Wednesday to extend that moratorium until mid-January 2022. 13 state legislators have signed a letter urging Hochul for an extension, pointing out New York has the largest share of renter households in the country. Landlords have threatened to sue the state should the moratorium be extended. They're pushing for a speed up in rent relief distribution. Governor Hochul is a week into her new job leading the state. One man who can relate to having that awesome responsibility is former Governor George Pataki. We asked Mr. Pataki how he thinks New York State is doing and what advice he has for Governor Hochul.
We don't just need a new governor, we need a new direction. The state has been heading in the wrong direction for too long, and I hope that with new Governor Hochul, she understands that this is an enormous undertaking. She has to change a lot about our state government, including many of the important policies that affect all of our lives.
Among some of those issues, New York's Reproductive Health Act that allows abortion up to the moment of birth. Pataki says the bill is, quote, completely wrong. You can watch the full interview on our website, currentsny.tv. More than 1 million people in Louisiana remain without power, and the death toll from Hurricane Ida is rising. In New Orleans, where many are without homes, churches are doubling as emergency shelters. The storm is now a tropical depression, but the danger is not over for those in its path. Flash flood warnings remain in effect through Thursday for much of the East Coast, including parts of New York and New Jersey. And praying for those impacted by Ida, the president of the U.S. Bishops Conference released this statement saying, "I urge our Catholic faithful and all people of goodwill across the country to stand in solidarity with these impacted communities. We entrust all our brothers and sisters in harm's way to our Blessed Mother, and we ask for her continued protection and for her intercession in comforting those who are suffering. The Diocese of Brooklyn is mourning the death of Auxiliary Bishop Guy Sansaricq. The first of 2 wakes is being held Tuesday at St. Jerome Catholic Church in Brooklyn. Visitation hours end at 9 p.m. A second wake will be held Wednesday at St. Gregory the Great from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., followed by a Mass in Bishop Sansarick's honor. His Mass of Christian burial will be held at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph on Thursday at 11 a.m. Currents News' Jessica Easthope is attending the wake at St. Jerome and will join us Wednesday with a full report. That is this Currents News update. The newscast will be back to its full length this fall when we move to our new studio. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news.